everyone. Welcome to the North Pole. It is cold up here, so I've got some hot chocolate to help keep me warm, and I hope that you are comfy and cozy wherever you are. My name is Mary Ellen Kennel, and I've placed a little bit of info here by way of introduction for you about myself, but it is extremely busy up here this time of year, so we're going to keep moving. So my goal for this brief time that I have with you today is not to answer all your questions. I would love to do that, but I simply don't have the cycles. It's so busy here right now. So what I'd like to do is the opposite. I'd like to leave you with tons of questions. Hopefully this will whet your appetite and fill you with curiosity, and you will want to, it'll point you in the right direction, but you will want to use the resources that we give you here and delve in on your own time. I'd be remiss if I did not thank Santa and his amazing elves over at CounterHack and the Sands Institute for hosting this epic CTF event. A ton of hard work goes into putting an event like this together, and it's a real joy to be a part of it. Since it is Christmas time here at the North Pole, this talk will be my gift to you. We're going to talk about a lot of free and open source tools and projects here today, but do me a favor. I'm going to challenge you not to be a Grinch. Do not pull an Ebenezer Scrooge and just take. There's a lot of ways that you can give back in this community. And, it's been a tough couple of years. I mean, I have neighbors who are, work on Broadway, and they have not worked in more than a year and a half, and they're finally now going back. So I get it. It's been tough. If you can't give financially to some of these authors, maybe you can just send them a thank you, an email. Like, I really liked that application that you built, and it was really helpful. And here's why. Or if you're a coder and you can pitch in, great. But try to give back. 'Tis the season. And it goes a long way up here, I will say, when it comes to doling out the naughty and the nice lists. Just saying. Brief disclaimer about me. I do work for Bank of New York Mellon. However, I am not representing Bank of New York Mellon with this talk. Any examples or scenarios used in this presentation hold absolutely no affiliation with the Bank of New York Mellon. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about real quick. Virtualization software, right? The hypervisor that we're going to stick with today is VirtualBox. It's free, open source, very easy to use, and it's come a long way over the years. VMware, I like. I like it a lot. And, even their paid version is, fairly affordable, right? They offer a free version. Now, here's the reason why we're not going to use it today. We're going to be blowing up samples, ransomware, malware, and we need to be able to revert back to a clean state. And unless the free version of VMware, the VMware player, unless there's a registry hack that I'm not aware of, you just can't do that. And so, so that's why we're not going to cover it here. But it's a great product. As far as the cloud goes, personally, I've built malware labs in AWS, in Google Cloud, and I've heard that DigitalOcean is fantastic, and it's only about $5 a month, something like that, and the machines are really fast. But we won't cover that today. Just keep in mind with AWS, and GCP, like those are the ones that I've used. I know that the cloud is someone else's computer, right? So there are, strict rules around running malware, and you just need to stay within those confines. And you can get away with it for free if you stay within their free requirements and free limits. Great tools, by the way. So we're going to talk about where to find virtual analysis boxes, how to configure them, where to find malware analysis tools, where to find malware samples, and if the demo gods prevail, we will do a live demo. Let's talk about VMs. First, we need the software to run the VM. So VirtualBox, you can grab it here. It comes in a lot of different flavors. The one thing I will point you to when it comes to VirtualBox, they have what's called the extension pack and the guest editions. And those might throw you a little bit at first if you don't know much about them. So this third link here on the bottom of the screen takes you to a forum, and it's moderated by the folks at VirtualBox, some of the authors. And this one particular link explains the differences, between those two in like one paragraph, and it's succinct, and it's really, it was really helpful for me. So check it out. As far as machines to run, I like this one a lot. This is a Microsoft free eval version. It's a Windows 10 Edge machine. It's good for 90 days and it's fast. I like this one a lot. As far as a different flavor, this one is a Windows 10 dev machine. I mean, it's still Windows 10. I would say different, not really a different flavor. One of the differences that this machine gives you that this one doesn't. So this one runs a little faster, but it's a smaller hard drive. This one out of the box is 125 gigs. Now you can go on the back end and you can adjust the sizes. But I like out of the box right there that I have all that space if I want it. They're good for 90 days. Now, when we talk about extending the life of the machines, snapshotting is a little different. It's my understanding that snapshotting does not extend the license, right? But this does. This is called rearming and reverting back. So, you can do this twice, I think, for every VM. So you can see here on the example I give you at the top of the screen, I had 12 days left on my 90-day VM, right? Good for 90 days. Well, I did a rearm, and boom, I'm back to 90 days. So keep that in mind. More machines from Microsoft. All the server products are all trial eval versions for free. And those they're good for 180 days. Let's talk about Remnix. So Remnix is, when I think of reverse engineering and I open up the dictionary and I look at, I look up reverse engineering, I see Lenny Zeltzer's picture in my dictionary, in my book. So Lenny Zeltzer is the author of the SANS Reverse Engineering Malware class. I've taken his course twice, and it's a fantastic class, and he gives away a lot of the resources for free. So this is his machine that he uses in the class to analyze malware. It comes preloaded with tons of tools that you can look at malware with. That's the one we're going to use. This one is very good as well. This is, it used to be FireEye. I think when they did their recent reorg, I think Mandiant got the tools side of the house, I think is one of the things that happened. But it's still, still being supported. It's a fantastic distro. I think it definitely needs at least 60 gigs. So, make sure you have plenty of free space, but I've used it in the past and it is very, very, very good. It's also, comes pre-packed with tons of tools to look at malware. So I didn't want to not talk about Kali. So Kali is not, probably when I think of a machine that comes preloaded with malware analysis tools, I mean, I probably wouldn't think of Kali per se, but it's got tons of tools that are great for looking at malware. So it's also a possibility. So that's it for, building building our machines. That just scratched the surface, I know, but we've got to move on. I have very little time here. So these are some more resources that are more in depth that I'm going to leave with you so you can check those out. Let's talk about configuring these VMs. So when we're running ransomware, back in the day when ransomware was just coming on the scene, ransomware has a list of file types, right, that it's going to encrypt and then it's going to go after. And back in the day, I didn't really care about PCAP files. So, I could hose my entire box, but I still had my analysis PCAP. I could go back and look at everything. Well, the authors kind of, I think, became wise to those types of things. And so they build in anti-forensics now. So, we just need to think about anti-forensics, right? So a little bit of that is what we're going to do here today. We're going to pipe the traffic out of our victim machine. Our Windows machine is going to be the victim machine, and that's where we're going to detonate our samples. And we're going to pipe that traffic out to Remnix. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to run ifconfig on Remnix and file away that IP that it gives us, right? Then on the Windows machine, you run ipconfig, and whatever IP it gives you, just hard code that in and make it static, right? Then for the default gateway, you're going to put in the IP that you had for your Remnix machine and for the DNS server as well. And what that does, it allows the two to communicate to each other. And the Remnix box can reach the internet, but the Windows host cannot. And that's kind of what you want. So the first thing I like to do on my Remnix machine is I fire up Wireshark, and then I fire up fake DNS, and that's going to log the traffic queries, right, from the victim machine, which is the Windows machine. Over on the Windows side of things, I fire up Burp, and Process Hacker or Procmon or a host of many other tools that you can run. Just a few of my favorites, but there's many others that you can run. So quick things before we detonate. Host only will keep you out of trouble. Make sure the host that's running the virtual software is non-prod. So if something does escape, it doesn't rock your world. Take snapshots. That's why, one of the reasons why we use VMs, right? So that we can revert back to a clean state. Turn off the AV on the VMs, shut the Windows updates down, set your VM firewalls off. I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? But remember, this is not a talk on how to harden your endpoints. We're doing something very specific here. So this is why we want these settings the way we do. If you're kind of new to malware analysis, just one thing to file away is, when you download malware from places like VirusTotal, it's going to be zipped up and the password is usually infected. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be infected. The one last thing, the usernames and the passwords for all of the VMs that I mentioned should be right there on the downloads page. You just kind of have to, look around for them, but they're there. Where to find tools? Again, Remnux, the documentation page for Remnux is fantastic. So all of these are little flyout menus that you see on the screen here. And if you click on them, it'll take you to a little description about like tons of tools and where to find them. And the bit.ly link on the screen is a paper that I wrote about dynamic analysis, static analysis, incident response, and there's some helpful nuggets in there for you as well. So just a little bit about the nomenclature. I'm not a reverse engineering snob by any means, but you will run across people who, they're sometimes a little uptight about the the nomenclature that's used. So this is my way of sort of putting everything together, and a little bit of reverse engineering is in some of what we're doing here, right? Also, static versus dynamic malware analysis. This is a great resource to learn about the differences between those two as well. Where to find malware? Very simple. Just go to my, I run a little website with all things DFIR. It's dfirlinks.blogspot.com. Click on, the beaker that you see there, the malware analysis, and you'll be up to your eyeballs in malware. But be careful. And I am not responsible for any malware that you pull down. Just saying. All right. Speaking of malware, let's run some, huh? All right. So we've got our victim machine ready to get hosed. We've got over here, I did set off, and I see some updates are running. I did shut them off, but so fake DNS is running, right? Shut that off. I kicked that off. The machines can talk to one another. You can see here the configuration that we have, right? We've got burp running. We've got the virus protection is turned off, as well as the firewall, and then the Windows updates have been paused. So we're going to download we're going to run the Black Matter ransomware. This is a fairly new sample, so it's still pretty fresh. I just pulled it down a couple days ago. What's the password that we're going to use, right? All right, we're going to call this malware.exe. Okay, pull it over here. And should have process hacker up and running. All right, yeah, it's running here. So that'll, give us an eyeball of what's happening when we detonate the malware. So let's kick off our PCAP and let's roll. Ready to get hosed? Here we go. Now it's probably going to reach out to some shady.org, right? You should see it over here. Not WJ32. So it's right now. It's deleting the volume shadow copies. It's encrypting those, and not encrypting them. It's deleting them. It's not reaching out to those. There it is. There it is. Those .orgs. There we go. Those are the shady ones that it talks to. So it's going to hose everything. In fact, it already has, right? So you can see here we go. Here's our ransom note. All your files belong to us, right? Black matter. And it's hosed everything. This was a file. It's now encrypted. You can see over here, even my TXT files are encrypted. Did it get Wireshark? Yes, it did. Oh, no, it didn't get. I wonder if Wireshark is still run. Let's see. I'm curious. No, it got it. It got it. It got the DLL, I think, that is attached. Well, we are out of time, but you can see how valuable, this kind of a resource is. I hope that you see that. And I hope that you'll have lots more fun running more malware on your own.